Figured didn't come on yesterday because I was way too tired after a 3 day weekend of working out at the Renaissance. Um, got home Monday, got basically 4 hours of sleep. So I wanted to rest. I couldn't keep my eyes open after dinner. But after last week, about my show of mental illness, sure, I can do that. Give me about a minute here. All right, I hit you with the link there, process. So thank you, process, Jeff, uh, Cheap to Chick. Thank y'all for coming on tonight. First off, I wanted to say how basically saying thank you all so very much. After last week, my topic about mental illness, I realized, well, one, how screwed up people are, how screwed up we are. But I also realized, but I'm very fortunate, very lucky to have the friends and people like you guys to be here and to talk with me and support me and all that great stuff. I wanted to say thank you so much from the bottom of my bottom, whatever, my heart. Thank you all so much. It really does mean a lot to me because I know there's 65 of you out there that want to hear what I want to say. So that's part of me being humble, giving thanks to everyone out there for hearing what I have to say and being a part of this show or broadcast video, whatever you want to call it. Because I don't just say it's my name, but it's everybody's channel too. Because if it weren't for you, we wouldn't be here today. And which leads me into over the weekend, hey, process.
Hey, how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good. Yourself?
Oh, good. I saw your topic today. I've only got a few minutes. My battery's about to die. And I just wanted to say, yeah, it's a pretty heavy topic. Anybody that's suffered with that kind of stuff knows how difficult it is to remain humble and respect everybody's feelings at the time. A lot of emotions are very high when people pass, and certain people kind of lose their mind over the passing. So it's a great topic.
Right.
And like I said, my phone might die here for a minute. I'm at the mercy of the battery, but I'll hang out for a little bit with you and, see how it goes.
I appreciate that. I did some charging myself on my phone and my tablet. So during the the unaffiliated, which I support heavily. You know, I support you very heavily as well.
Appreciate it.
You know, and as I was saying, I thank everybody so much because you all don't have to be here to support me or hear what I have to say.
Oh no, we want to.
You know, so I appreciate it and I love everyone and I can't keep saying thank you enough.
Oh yeah, no biggie on my end. I like being here. I like watching. I like all this stuff.
Yeah, I love watching you. I love the music you produce and put out. Um,
Slap
it
tracks. Those are just the slap tracks.
it's inspired me to pick the bass back up sometime during the winter, get another bass and pick it up and start meddling around again.
Yeah. A lot of people. I sounds a lot like last time, but a lot of people don't know this about me. I got out of the music industry in 2008 as a professional audio engineer because of a death, the death of my bandmates. It's a tragic story of youth and drug use in the music world. Um, they passed away and I didn't. I had to watch as they passed, and it kind of shook me up real bad. And then seeing how the groups of people didn't remain humble or didn't respect the wishes kind of really turned me off to the whole thing. I haven't touched music since. I just recently here on the channel started doing little jams with acoustic guitar as minimal as I possibly can. Even though I do have all the equipment to do it, I have found that doing it like this is better for my brain. When we went to the funeral for the musicians, it was very hard. We all showed up in leathers. The family of some of the bandmates didn't, it wasn't the same. So when we showed up looking like hell, they were disrespectful, even though that's what the bandmates had asked us to do because we had had the talk prior to them passing away of what we would do if we would pass away on the road. It was very interesting. It's very interesting to see how grief can change people for many
Yep.
years, and it is very difficult to remain humble through something that traumatic with each other.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I experienced loss of a very good friend in high school in 10th grade who was bullied worse than I was and decided that the only way out was to end it all,
Yeah, that's horrible.
you know, in 10th grade,
Yep.
you know, and we had gotten a fight a few weeks beforehand and we're just mending things up and getting back to where we were supposed to be and come into school the next day and there he goes.
I've had a few that happen. That's terrible.
Yep.
Grief is very powerful emotion. A lot of people don't understand how deep it is and how it will affect them for many years to come after the fact. It's a very tricky situation. Sometimes at first I felt numb, right? And confused and then angry. I think they said there's something like 5 steps to grief or 10 steps to
Yep.
grief. I don't know any of them. I just know that I went through a litany of emotions that were out of my control. It's been many years since then, and I still have confusion and grief over these passings, other people that have passed that I love. It's a very difficult subject. And there's a lot to it. I would suggest anybody is just take your time to understand what's going on, and it's a good topic, buddy. It's a good
Yeah,
topic.
thank you. Thank you. And this comes in a recent tragedy in my family too. I want to say hi, Mermaid. How you doing? Uh, Thank you, Cheap to Chick and Mermaid Tales, for subscribing to me. I really appreciate it. I subscribed to you guys earlier today. So, um, but at my family, my wife and I were celebrating 9 years of being together on the 31st, and then 7 years of marriage on the 4th. Fifth, I actually think it was Labor Day Monday. And in between that time, my ex-wife had come up to me and told me what was going on with my son and my daughter-in-law and their baby. Because out at the Renaissance Festival here, when we get a lot of people, our cell phone reception is pretty crap. We can barely get out, and if you're not on the right provider, all your signals get dropped. Well, turns out that Friday she was experiencing cramps, and come Saturday morning she had blood running down her leg, and we didn't know until about noon. I got done with my first shift at noon. Ex-wife came up, told me what was going on. We were automatically, okay, just let us know. Just we ain't gonna be able to get out and message them. Just let us know. I got done with my last shift at 4 o'clock before my PM hour, and right at 4 o'clock we got the message that they had lost the baby.
Oh, I'm sorry. My condolences to the family, and it's a hard thing. That's real hard. That's a real hard one for a mother. I can only imagine. That is a very, very difficult situation to be in. My condolences.
Thank you, and I'll pass that along to them as well.
Yeah, please do. Um, wow. Well, be there as much as you can, and communicate when they're ready to talk. Talk with them when they're ready, and yeah, that's pretty hard. That's a pretty hard one right there, buddy. Hey, my phone is about to die. I'm gonna hop off so I can be in the chat. I'm gonna plug back in. I
All
just
right.
wanted to come on and say that this is another topic that's really close to my soul, and it's good that you're sharing information like this. I find that um, stuff that I'm going through is how, like, the YouTube has helped me that in that way, discussion, communication. So I really appreciate you doing that. Before my phone completely dies, I'm going to hop off to get in the chat and be here to follow along.
All right,
But
process.
yeah, sorry for so short. I'll charge up next time.
Don't worry about it. You were on a previous show. You're here.
All righty, buddy. Well, keep going, and let's continue the story. I want to hear the rest of it.
All right. Thank you, process, for coming on. I want to say hey to Jamin and Randy. You guys were on your show just a little bit ago, the unaffiliated. Jamin, if you want to drop the link, go ahead. Might as well drop the processes link as well. We've been supporting each other very heavily, so I want to make sure your guys' links are in there. But as I was saying with the process, I got done with my shift on Saturday, getting ready for the PM hour at 6 o'clock, and we got the news that the baby was gone. So at that point, the chairperson for our project, for the JCs, had already known through my wife that what was going on, that we more likely were going to leave and won't be back to finish the shift, but we would be back later that night. Well, we were done. I told my crew what was going on, and we took off. By the time we got to the hospital, we already got the message that she was home. They had to take her up to surgery, clean her out and stuff, like get the fetus out. And she was 4 months along. So we turned around from the hospital, went to their apartment, which is only a few minutes away, and spent some time with them. You know, hugged my son. I couldn't really hug my daughter-in-law. She was in the bed, and but I was there. My wife was sitting in the chair next to her, but I was there. You know, we were talking and comforting her. She was in good spirits at that point. It really hadn't hit them what had happened. They knew what had happened, but it didn't actually hit them. And I went sitting out in the kitchen because my back was hurting from standing. And I was talking to my son, and he felt guilt. He felt blame that there's something that he could have done to stop this from all happening. And you really can't, not when it comes to a miscarriage. You don't know when it happens. It happens. You know, you pretty much can't. There's times when they can stop it, but most of the time I think they can't. And so that Saturday night, we left about 8 o'clock, got back to the festival grounds a little after 9, had a quick bite to eat, and went to bed. Thank goodness not too many people knew what was going on. All they knew was, thanks to my chairperson, that people just knew that we had a family emergency and we needed to go. So we weren't bombarded with questions about what was going on or anything. People left us alone. Well, I messaged my son Monday and Tuesday, and I talked to him, and he said that his wife was FH negative and the fetus was FH positive. I know what that is. I just can't get the right term down. But what happened was her body attacked the fetus because of that. And at that point, it was too late. Earlier signs that showed everything was fine and normal. And, you know, and no, and they knew that it was nothing that they did. They knew that they couldn't have prevented it once it happened. If they would have known sooner, then they could have, but everything showed that it was fine. So there was some relief there. When I talked to my son yesterday, actually Monday night, when I went through his job, I talked to him. He works at a Burger King right near the festival grounds. So I went through there when I was done and grabbed something to eat. And I talked to him, and Sunday night it hit them pretty good, pretty hard. But they felt relief that things were not their fault, that they did everything right. And at that point on Monday night, all I could do was reassure them that when things are ready for them to be a parent, whether they have a baby or they adopt, that they're going to be two of the greatest parents on this planet because they want this so bad, you know. That's why I came up with tonight's topic, um, you know, being humble and also, you know, experiencing loss. Because after last Thursday, about my show mental illness, I was really grateful and very lucky to have the people in my life that I do, you know, and I was flying on a high on that, thinking, you know, knowing I'm going to do this show and talk about being humble. And then the loss happened that weekend. And I just felt it was pretty fitting to do today, you know. But there's, you know, losing someone is one way of dealing with loss. I mean, is a loss, but how you deal with it is up to you. You know, so I want to say hi to Frostbite. I was on his show earlier today, and you know, I loved it, Frostbite. I loved the conversation. You know, everything was drama free and it was just fun. I had a blast. So thank you very much. You know, and so, but dealing with a parent dealing with the loss of a unborn baby is one of the hardest things someone has to go through. I've never experienced that. My ex-wife has dealt with it twice. She had some genetic in her family or genetic defect in her family where it causes the inside of the baby's stomach to be on the outside of the body. I think it's called an ophacocele. Don't think I pronounced that right. Um, so she had two that died because of that. Then my son and daughter survived it. So we're pretty fortunate there. But she lost two before they were born. And like I said, that's one of the hardest things you have to face. And that's right. You know, we all handle things differently. There's not a right, there's not a wrong. It's the way you are willing to handle it. Now, there's a healthy way and an unhealthy way of handling it, yes. But there's never a right or a wrong. Because what works for me isn't going to work for somebody else. Thank you, Process, for dropping Frostbite's link. If you know, you could drop Cheap to Chick and let's see, and Mermaid Tales, their link as well. That would be great. I thank you very much. So they're dealing with that on their own terms. My son's not having a beer or anything. He's not drinking. He's dealing it. He's got to be there for his wife. And so they're doing good. My ex-wife, that was years ago when she had to deal with that. My daughter's in her 30s, so we're pretty fortunate there. Thank you, process. I appreciate it very much. And so that's one type of a loss. That's the hardest one, I know. And also a parent should never have to bury a child, should never have to experience the loss of their child. I know too many people my age or higher who have lost a child due to an accident or a suicide, a drug overdose or something. And a parent should never have to bury a child ever, you know. Um, and that's one of the hardest things too. If I had to bury one of my 5 kids, 2 of mine, 3 of my current wife's, that would eat me up. It really would, because our kids are supposed to outlive us. And I understand if there's a illness or they were born with something, I can understand that and accept that a lot more than just a straight up loss. But, you know, parents should never have to bury their child. Not at all. It should be the child burying the parent, and then living on to show and spread what they have learned from their parents and in their life, spread that to their kids and grandkids and so forth, spread that wisdom. Um, I'm very fortunate that um, I've had that happen to me. And that's right, process. It's complicated situation. You have to communicate, and you're not alone. You're never alone. Even though you feel that you are, you're not. There's always someone to talk to, someone that's always going to listen to you in your time of need. Even the worst person that I dislike or dislikes me isn't going to turn me away. It never has turned me away when I needed to talk. In a way that kind of rekindled the friendship. Then I remembered why I didn't want to be around them anyway. So, but we were friends again for a while. Um, One of the earliest memories of loss I've had was the loss of one of my grandmas in 6th grade. And if you want to know when that was back in the late 70s, early 80s. I went into high school in 84. And I remember that very vividly because I went to bed that night. I heard the phone ring. I heard my dad answer the phone. They were talking. And I heard something on the lines of he's not going to school in the morning. I didn't turn my alarm off. I just went to bed. Woke up at about 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. Realized my alarm was off. I told my dad, and my dad told me my grandma had died. So I was pretty relieved I wasn't in trouble for oversleeping. And so we went out to Bellingham, which is in western Minnesota. I'm on the eastern side. and we traveled with one aunt and my cousins, my aunt, uncle, and cousins. And we slept in the house. My brother was born at the time. He was born in 77, so he was probably 3 or 4 at the time. And they were sleeping upstairs. I was downstairs, and they come running downstairs and said he saw a ghost at the end of the bed, a white mist. And I said, "Are you sure?" He goes, "Yes." I said, "How do you know?" Because it was there. I ran through it. I said, "Did it do anything?" He goes, "No." I said, "Well, that's good. I didn't want to have to kick a ghost's ass." Everybody started laughing. And we realized, that was the day after my grandma had died. And realized that her ghost was coming to check up on us, the grandkids, to see if we were all right. And we were. The next morning, we all got up and were doing things for the funeral home and stuff. And my mom and my aunts went through her purse and to see what was in there. And they found a couple baseball card packages. Yeah, that old at the time, from late 70s, early 80s, and gave them to me. They figured that my grandma, back then I was kind of in the baseball, so they figured my grandma bought those for me and just haven't been able to, was going to give them to me the next time we were up. You know, so, and I still got most of those cards with other baseball cards. Couldn't tell you which ones though. They are. But I miss her very much. You know, she was one of. I only had 3 grandmas, and I loved all 3. But I had my grandmas from my parents, and then I had my great grandma. Um, she passed away sometime in the 2000s, maybe late 90s, somewhere in there. Um, my one grandma passed away in, like, I want to say it was 80 or 82, somewhere in there. But and then my last grandma, she had passed away early 2000s, which that loss hit me pretty deep. Both of them hit me pretty deep, you know, because my grandma's, the way they let you know that they loved you is, one kept bringing me to bingos on Sunday nights or Saturday nights, whichever they decided to have it in that town, and bought me bingo cards, and I would play with her for, they're like the little bingo cards that had the slides to cover up your numbers, and it was like a quarter a card. So she'd buy me 2 cards, and if I won, she claimed bingo and stuff like that. And then my other one would play with my hair and tell me it was too long. And, I really shouldn't wear an earring. You know, hi Ginsky, how you doing? You know, yeah, that's funny. I said hi to Ginsky, and my phone woke up. um, Maybe that's a sign or something. So a death is one type of loss, and that can hit on so many different levels, and it's how you deal with it. Um, like I said, there's healthy ways and unhealthy. Um, Unhealthy would be, and like many of us know, um, excessive drinking, doing drugs, You know, just stuff on that nature that's so unhealthy. There's a lot. I've done it. I know quite a few people who've done it in the unhealthy ways. And why do you do it? Because it washes away the sadness, the sorrow, the feeling of being hurt, or it eliminates that loss for a certain amount of time. And that time, you don't, while that's happening, you don't feel anything. You don't think about it. You just, you stuff it and you hide it and you go on to get through what you need to get through. Sometimes people take it longer. Sometimes it's a short-lived thing, you know, and you know, like process use, you're guilty, I'm guilty. I know other people that are guilty of it. And for those of you who've never seen me, these are my cheaters. If I take these off, I can't see anything in the chat. Not much. I really have to strain my eyes a little bit. So and the healthy ways are talking about it to someone, um, getting your mind off it through music. I've done that, you know, going, taking a bat or a stick and just taking something that doesn't work anymore or doesn't have any value and just busting the hell out of it. Why is that healthy? Because you're not taking it out on someone, you're not destroying somebody's property. Yeah, you're being destructive, but you're being destructive on an inanimate object that no longer has value or meaning, and you're not hurting anyone. So that's actually healthy. And they got that, the place is set up now to where if you're stressed or if you're angry or you're hurt, whatever, you can go in and you can pay so much and just go in and smash things. Just smash things. Just get it out. And when you're done, you feel better. You didn't hurt no one. Everyone is safe. You know, all that happened is you smashed some things, got some anger out, got some frustrations out and stuff. So that's actually pretty healthy. Um, I'm not sure. I've heard of them, and I've heard of people doing that to where they have things set up. You know, I know Minneapolis has got some here to where you pay so much and it's open to the public. You pay so much, walk in and just start with a bat or stuff and just start beating the shit out of things. And then when you're done, they clean it up, move more stuff in for the next people. You know, and that's a very healthy way of dealing with a loss or a frustration or an anger. Like I said, you're not out hurting someone, you're not drinking or doing drugs excessively, stuff like that. So there's a healthy way there. you know Talking to people is a healthy way, listening to music and getting your mind off things a little bit, but then there's music that'll let you stop you and make you think, let you process what's going on. And not everyone's going to process what happens at the same time. Everyone's different. Some it's going to take a little longer, some not. I know someone who lost her fiance to brain cancer in 2019, right before I was going to run the Renaissance for the JCs. I was chair that year, and I was having him come back on our security so he could do his last year out at the festival. And then we'd all have our chance to say goodbye to him. That didn't work out. He passed 2 to 3 weeks before the festival started. So I got the chance to say goodbye to him at the hotel, not at the hotel, at the hospital where he was at. I remember that because I was going on the Legacy Scholarship ride that weekend. And we just went up there to see him, and I told him when I'm on the ride, I would rev my engine at a stop for him a few times, and I'd say, "This is for you, Boyd." Rev it up, and sent him a video of it with the audio. And when his fiance played it for him, she said he squeezed his hand very tight, and his feet moved rapidly because that's the only way he could communicate. They had him sedated because of the brain tumor, the cancer in his head. So he couldn't open his eyes or talk, but he communicated by squeezing your hands and moving his feet. She said that brought him so much happiness and joy in a time he needed to be a little bit of happiness, you know. And that was the last memory I have of him. But I choose not to leave that as the memory I want to remember him by, you know. I choose to remember him working out at the festival, repairing stuff that other people break in our pubs, running tap handles, running kegs, running cups, this, that, checking the regulators for the kegs and the lines, all that stuff, setting the gauges, making sure pressure's right, doing opening and closing counts and having a beer at closing counts. I choose to remember him that way because that's when he was happy. The memory of me sending him the video of me revving my engine on the bike and saying that's for him, that's a memory I want to have. And those are the ones I'm going to remember more. Yeah, I'm going to remember what he looked like in the hospital and this stuff, but I choose to remember the positive because he would tell me that's how he wants to be remembered. So by doing that, I'm honoring him. And there's other types of losses like losing a pet. That's a pretty hard one, especially when they're in your family for so long. I had 4 rats we named after the Musketeers, 4 if you count D'Artagnan. And and there's loss of a job, loss of cars, all kinds of losses you have in life. But the hardest you're going to have is losing a child in childbirth or losing a mom in childbirth. Those are going to be hard. I mentioned the process early in the broadcast. I lost a friend, a dear friend, to suicide in the 10th grade. And XS, if you watch this, you know who it is. He was a friend of both me and XS 650. And he was bullied pretty hard. Me, XS, and our friend, we were bullied pretty hard. And well, one day he decided to end it and came in that school that morning, and we got the news of what he had done. And one of our friends, their father worked for the fire department in the town, and it was confirmed right away on who it was and what had happened. I stayed in school that day. XS went home. He was pretty distraught, you know, and we went through counseling. The school got us a counselor. There's 5 of us that were pretty affected by it, and they got us a counselor to work through it, which we also did our school work too. But he helped us work through it, and I was pretty grateful for that. And then at one time after high school, I had a chance to deal with it. I didn't deal with it back then. I stuffed it. I put it away. Well, I got a chance to deal with it, and all that built up. When I let it out, I wrote a note, and I wasn't going to do anything. I wasn't going to harm myself, but I wrote a note, describing how I felt and what I thought and what I wanted to do, and I left it on the kitchen table by accident. So I wasn't thinking. I just left it there and went to bed. My parents usually don't go in the kitchen in the mornings. Well, I got up the next morning, and next thing you know, I see there's my mom crying, there's my dad feeling sad, and talked to a psychiatrist. They put me in. I was in lockup, as I would put it. The most secured lockup for a night, where they take your shoelaces, everything, and then from there the doctor came in, talked to me, and moved me over into the open unit. I got my shoelaces back finally, but I had 4 hours of freedom. I could go outside at any time for 4 hours. But I was there for a couple months because I had to get this straightened out up here, and not realizing how big of an effect that took on everybody. So, but I'm glad that happened. I had someone to talk to, and then when they discharged me, and I had to talk to the psychiatrist. Something in my head went off and triggered something, because I went back and I started talking to this guy after a bit, and I'm sitting there like, this is the biggest flipping quack I've ever seen. He's asking me all these questions, and I'm looking at him like, do you hurt? Do you feel? You ask me these questions, but what about you? So I got into his mind, and I played that game. And then after a few visits, I just never went back. I didn't feel he wasn't really helping me that much. I got more help from my friends and complete strangers than I did from the psychiatrist. Needless to say, I'm still screwed up. So, but so yeah, over the weekend we had the loss of my 4th grandchild, which hurt. I didn't hit me very hard. I wasn't too attached yet, because I was at that phase of, okay, I'm going to be a grandpa for the 4th time. It's my son. He lives close to me. I'm going to be able to see this grandchild more than, because I got 3 that live down in Arkansas with my daughter, and I don't get to see them. Maybe every other year, couple years or so, I get to see them. I talk to them every now and then, especially when I play Santa. I'll read Christmas stories to them. Every year I read the night before Christmas to them, every Christmas Eve. That's a tradition that they don't want me to stop. And I've arranged it to where I'm gonna, if I were to ever die, I'm gonna have a recording done before I die so that it can be played on Christmas Eve every year for the rest of their lives and then their grandkids' lives. You know. Um, thank you, Randy. Thank you very much. Um, I appreciate it. But this one I wasn't that attached to yet. Just 4 months along. I was kind of waiting for the gender reveal so that I see grandson or granddaughter. Um, in my head, I was going, this is my Vikings fan. This one's going to watch Vikings games with me every Sunday. You know, even if I have to go to my son's house to do it, this is going to watch Viking games with me. This is going to be one I can teach how to spit again, and just have some fun. You know, be a grandpa again. And oh, that didn't happen. You know, not saying that it wasn't meant to be, because that's just too harsh. That's too mean. I ain't gonna say it wasn't the right time. Things just happened, and just like they normally do, things just happened, and there's nothing you could do. All you take comfort in knowing that it wasn't, you know, they didn't do anything wrong or you didn't do anything wrong. You were doing everything right, you know, and that's all you can do. You know, it hit me Monday night. No, actually, it hit me Saturday when I went back to the festival. I started crying a little bit. I was driving the car because we were tired. My wife was tired, and the car was already set up for me to drive anyway. But I kind of cried a little bit. And I shed some tears. And if anyone tells you that a man is not supposed to show emotion or cry in front of people, they're full of shit. You know, men don't have to be like that. You know, yeah, you got these pansies now. They're gonna cry about, whine about everything, cry for their mom when they fuck up. But no, I show emotion in front of my wife and kids. I show, I don't show emotion or cry in front of my worst enemy. I won't give them that satisfaction. But I do other times, and I did a little bit Saturday night. You know, knowing that I'm not going to get to know this grandchild. You know, have fun with this one and stuff, and but I took peace in knowing that at some point later down the line, there's going to be another one. There's going to be another chance that I can teach how to spit, and you know, um, they pick their nose, say, no, 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 you got to do it this way. This is the right way. You know, um, watch football games with, because it's something they want to do with grandpa. You know, eat some popcorn during, and have some hot cider, hot chocolate during football game. You know, and just do that like I did with my first, when my granddaughter was born. You know, and she was born in December, so we watched some Viking games together and stuff like that. And I did teach her how to spit and teach her how to be a little brat, but how she turned out now, that ain't my fault. I only got the first 6 months of her. You know, and so, but being a grandpa is a blessing. So there's a positive there. There's a happy note. That's being humble there. You know, kids teach you so much. You know, like Jeff Foxworthy says, did you know you can fit 3 boxes of raisins inside a cassette player in your car? You do now, you know. Um, did you know the human head weighs 8 pounds? I didn't know that until I watched Jerry Maguire when the little boy there said that. Yeah. But yeah, kids are a blessing. I'll have another grandchild sometime down the road, whether it be from my one of my 5 kids. Well, 4. My daughter can't have any more kids now. She made sure of that. So I've got 4 kids that I can be a grandpa that can turn me into a grandpa. I've got bonus kids that are going to make me into a grandpa. I know one that's pregnant with can't say too much because they haven't announced it yet. So hopefully I'll get to know those kids. And there's others that I'll get that will call me grandpa and stuff like that. That's fine. But that's being humble. That's being a reward of that's the other side of loss that people don't that get to see a little bit, you know. You know. Um, I'm sticking on the death as the loss because it hits so hard. It resonates with everybody. Everybody can relate to it. Everybody, most everybody has experienced that at some point in their life, whether it be a grandparent, a parent, a sibling, a pet, or they've seen someone die, which I have, not willingly, but I have. Um, stuff like that. And it turns you into who you are as a person, as a whole. Without experiencing loss or death, you'd be a totally different person. And I'm thankful for the person I am. I mean, yeah, I say I'm an asshole all the time, but it keeps my neighbors away and it keeps unwanted people away. Only the people that want to get to know me will come up and talk to me and interact with me. That's how I weed out the bad, you know. But there's other types of losses like losing a job, you know, and that's a huge loss because then you lose income. You can lose your house, your car, your motorcycle. Um, I ain't gonna say you don't get laid or anything, but there's a lot that happens when you lose a job. You feel worthless, especially if they fire you and they don't give you a really truthful reason why. They just say, well, we decided to part ways or go this way and you're done, you know. Um, I just seen that happen where one of the guys from work is a person of color and he'd been busting with his ass with the company. And I ain't saying he was innocent. He screwed up many times. He's been written up, but he was toting the line and he didn't come in one day and I think he didn't call and out he went. They got rid of him, you know. He was one of the best workers they had. But like I said, he wasn't completely innocent either. So um, he's got another job. I haven't called him recently. I should though. And but yeah, losing a job is another type of loss. Going fishing and getting that fish out and that fish jumps off your line, that's a loss because you lost a fish that you could clean and cook. That was food, you know. Like deer hunting, you shoot and miss a deer. There goes meat that's going to fill up your freezer. You know, My little chest freezer can hold 2 deer, maybe 3 easily if I grind it all up and just keep the roasts and you grind up everything for stew meat or burger. I can hold up to 2 or 3 deer in that little one. You know, yeah, loss of food while you're hunting or fishing, stuff like that. Loss of income. So there's many other types of losses, but it's how you deal with it that's going to get you through. You know, so that's my topic for tonight, and I thank you, Process, for coming on tonight and experience and sharing your loss and how you've dealt with it and stuff. I really, really appreciate that very, very much. And I really appreciate every single one of you. I love y'all. Um, I love the support we give each other because without that support, we wouldn't be here doing what we do. You know, each one of us have a message that we can share with others, whether it be experience or talking to someone, giving them advice and stuff. We're all here for a reason. We're all here to do something, whether it be help or hunt, this, that. We're all here for a reason, to do something. And I strongly believe that everyone enters your life and leaves your life for a reason. Um, I've got a friend that I've played games with online. We've never met. We've been playing games and stuff for over 4 or 5 years now. And we no longer play online games, but we sit and talk almost every day. He hasn't said nothing to me since this morning. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to message him and give him some crap. He's probably pissed at me because I didn't message him at all this weekend. I was busy working out the Renaissance. When I'm that busy, I don't think of jumping on this, watching anybody's show or jump on Discord or nothing. I'm out there doing my thing. I'm being in the moment out there with other people that need me out there, that would like to talk to me, that they've got problems and they need me. But I'm never a hop, skip, and a jump away from anybody. If someone needs me, they can call me, they can message me or stuff. I may not get to them right away, but I will eventually get back to them. Just when I'm out there, my signal's out is pretty crappy, so I reply when I can. But like, he's been my friend for over 5 years. We talk almost every day. People out the Renaissance, they're my family as well, and quite a few of those people are full of drama and are drama. And then they're the ones that are just like me, say fuck it and go about our business and do our thing. But I don't ignore the people that are full of drama. I don't. They need someone to talk to. They need an ear. They need to know that somebody cares and gives a shit. There's quite a few people out there that I work with that I don't like, that I don't care for. But I'm not going to treat them like shit because of it. I'm going to treat them like a person. If outside of Fest, different story. But when I'm there working with them, I'm treating them like a person. So that's also another humble moment, because I keep saying I'm an asshole, but I'm comes to it, I'm a pretty decent guy. You know, I do what's right. You know, not everyone thinks I do the right thing, but I do what's right to me. I do what's right for my family, and I do what's right for my friends and my family. My friends are my family, most of them. There's some that you're just my friend. You're here, you're my family. Um, that's the way it is with me. You know, if I call you brother or not, not a big deal because I consider you family. So that's huge with me. Family means everything. I've got Renaissance family, I got my biker family, YouTube family. It's all family to me, you know. So, but that's my message, and it's what I wanted to talk about. I thank you also very much for listening to me and process. Thank you for very much for coming on and talking with me. And you know, I can't stop saying thank you enough. I just can't. Yeah, we do, Jeff. We all got those families, and you know, yeah, my dad, my mom, dad, my brother, cousins. I can't pick that family. The rest of it, the rest of my family, I have picked. You know, and I'm pretty happy about that. You know, so um, so yeah, I'm gonna end it here and just say again, thank you all, everyone. Um, hope you come on next time I'm on and catch me again. I'm going to catch every single one of you. May not catch you live at that time, but I'm going to get your show and watch it and comment and let you know I'm there. You know, it's the best I can do. And I'll just leave it there for now and say thank you. Y'all have a good night. As we say, as those bikers say, you keep the rubber side down, shiny side up, and keep the bears off your tail. I love you all. Thank you all so very much. Be a decent human. Y'all have a good night.